Okay, well, welcome in everyone who is here nice and early. Thank you for jumping on, actually right on time. Appreciate it. We're gonna get started in just a little over a minute or so. Want to give some people some time to join in the webinar. So feel free to grab some water, bio break, some coffee. We've got a really good presentation on deck today. Some really cool topics that Ron and I are going to be going through. So we're going to get started probably just over 2 minutes past the hour as we're monitoring the folks that are signed up and joining us. So again, feel free to make yourselves at home, get comfortable. We're going to get started just over 2 minutes past the hour. All right, if you guys have just jumped on, keep in mind that we're going to get started in just around a minute from now. You probably have time to grab some water and coffee before Ron and I get into this, and then we'll start the webinar right then. All right, Ron, you can hear me, right? Should we get started?
I see people still coming in, but I think we can start.
I think we're good to go. Why not? We got to reward those that have come here on time. All right, perfect. Guys, again, thank you so much for jumping on this quarter's Midyear Momentum product review and update webinar. If you've joined us in the past, you are familiar with this type of format. This is when Ron and I are going to be going through everything related to Xyte and innovation. We're going to be talking a lot about the trends in the marketplace that we have gathered from our research and partnership with a lot of great consultants across the industry to tell you what's happening, of course, and then we're going to be talking a lot about what we've built and what we're building. You guys are muted, your video is off, the session is being recorded, and we're going to, of course, share this recording afterwards. You guys can go through, watch it on 2x speed, and see everything that we are innovating here at Xyte. Without further ado, quick introductions. I am joined today by Ron Zach. He is our VP of Product and leads really all of our innovation here at Xyte. So he'll be talking a lot about what we've built and what we're building. If you guys don't know me, I'm Andrew, and I run our global sales team. You probably have seen me on a couple of these different webinars before. So with that, let's jump right into it and talk a little bit about the kind of agenda and flow for today. As I mentioned, I'm going to kick off and kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what's happening. What are we seeing out there in the AV, IT, enterprise building space? This is kind of going to set the stage for why we've built what we've built and why we're building what we're building, which is really going to be those next couple of sections. Obviously, a big focus of today's conversation is going to be around Connect Plus, which if you've seen us at any trade show over the last year, has been our #1 focus in bringing to the industry the first and true single pane of glass for monitoring and management. We're going to talk a lot about today about what we've done to make it even better, even just since InfoComm a couple of weeks ago. And then we're going to wrap up a couple of new resources and, of course, how to get in touch with us. So let's start off with that foundation. What are the lessons from InfoComm, and what have our consultant relationships and our analyst relationships been telling us that's going on in the enterprise building space in the IT AV world that we all need to be prepared of? Because everyone on the call, I'm sure you fit into either the managed service and integrator bucket, you fit into a manufacturer bucket, or maybe you're a user of these systems. Knowing what's happening and the trends that's driving this industry of what others are doing is going to set the stage for my conversation with Ron to come. First things first, at InfoComm, I think it was pretty obvious that single pane of glass, so one screen to see it all, to monitor and manage my entire estate, is absolutely the ideal scenario for all users. This has been confirmed by pretty much every integrator, every service provider, and every user, is that, hey, I want to manage my rooms, not my individual devices in silos. And why shouldn't you feel that way, right? We live in an integrated environment. My TV communicates to my control system, which communicates to my scheduling panel. Those could be 3 different manufacturers. I don't want 3 different monitoring tools. Give me one. That is the ideal state from InfoComm that we confirmed. Moving over to the right is this services mentality. And I purposely didn't talk here about AV as a service, hopefully to avoid any eye rolls from the audience as well. And the key reason why is because services are starting to be defined differently depending on who you are. But the key trend is that services remain a major focus. Hardware manufacturers are looking on how can I provide different services, AKA feature enablements, maybe licenses via my hardware to the community. Service providers and integrators are, of course, looking how do I expand and increase and enhance my managed service contracts to my end users. But even you as an IT AV manager of equipment inside of your enterprise or university or government agency, you're thinking, how do I service my internal customer, which are the people using my rooms? How do I better support them remotely and faster to reduce downtime and keep my critical systems working? Services is the focus. On the bottom right, this actually is in relevance to a webinar I just hosted last week with the SDVOE team and their CTO there, Stefan Tremblay, which was the importance of standards and interoperability. You know, this is nothing new in this industry, right? We saw HDBaseT and Dante and SDVOE all lead the way with standards of having multiple systems in this integrated environment communicate over a single language or protocol to allow for interop underneath the standards umbrella. And just recently, Xyte is proud to be one of the founding members of the Open AV Cloud standard, which has taken it from AV transport to cloud communication, monitoring, and management of multiple systems under a single umbrella. But the key trend is, of course, that not just those legacy standards, but even this newer standard with Open AV Cloud is starting to drive a lot of adoption in the space. If your system isn't part of a standard, if your system doesn't talk a standard, or if your system or device is not able to interop with other equipment, whether through AV communication transport or monitoring and management, the consultants, the integrators, the service providers, and the users are not going to use your systems. That has been a big trend we've seen. The last one on the bottom left is, of course, everyone's going to be looking about, well, what's going on with AI? So instead of me just standing up here and saying, hey guys, be aware of AI, I want to talk about a little bit more about what's coming with AI, because AI is here. Whether you like it or not, whether you've adopted or not, AI in any form is going to impact your business. And what we've seen today is this AI 1.0. And while we say it may be a little harsh that it wasn't transformative, it absolutely changed the way we did business, especially in this AV world. I'm going to talk about how in a second. What we need to be ready for and what we need to be looking towards is AI 2.0 and what this full stack reinvention is all about. So let me double click a little bit more on this AI before we talk about what's coming from an Xyte standpoint and kind of just set the stage a little bit on what's coming from an Xyte AI standpoint. Everything you see here quickly on the screen, this actually came from the NVIDIA conference not too long ago. And the gentleman on the screen, if you're not familiar with him and his wonderful leather jacket, is Jensen Huang. He's the CEO and founder of NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is one of the leaders in all things AI as it relates to the technology space. And he got up on stage during his conference in front of investors and customers and partners and gave this incredible speech about this transformation of AI and how it is escaping the cloud and how manufacturers of any equipment, whether it's EV chargers, whether it's displays, sensors, or even AV equipment, are right now unprepared for this next transition. Because if you see this curve, is that we started in this perception AI and Gen AI, which was kind of this ChatGPT world, right? Where I could type in something and give me a prompt. I could type in something and it can build me an image. I can then engage the next step, which was agentic AI. And this were things like, hey, post automatically for me on LinkedIn. Help me code this new website or program. But the next evolution is going to be this physical AI. And what this physical AI is about is embedding AI directly into the hardware, not just from a silicon layer. And it's amazing to hear this from a company like NVIDIA, who of course is focused very keenly on this. But how is AI getting embedded from me as a manufacturer? How is AI being embedded in the hardware for my integration business of the manufacturer's equipment that I integrate? And how should I, as an ADIT user, be focused and worry about what is now moving towards the hardware? And the way that Xyte, and in the near future, Xyte.ai is going to be answering this for this entire industry, all three partners in this value chain, is focusing on preparing you for this full stack reinvention. Now, what do I mean about this full stack reinvention? When you're looking at how do I embrace and deploy AI as a business, whether you're any three of those layers of the value chain, starting from scratch is not the answer. And being able to integrate into a platform like Xyte that's going to deliver to you AI-enabled tools because of the embedding of your hardware, or the embedding of the hardware that you're reselling and or using, now has the ability to consume those AI value-added tools, is going to future-proof the entire piece of equipment that you're making, installing, or using for time to come. And let me give you an example of this AI 1.0 to 2.0 transition. Is what we've seen today and in the past, especially even in the AI world, are like these chatbots. Look, Xyte is there too. We want to provide this to you today. Is a chatbot for me to communicate to my devices so I can ask it questions like, hey, tell me what room is down. Or, hey, why don't you review my quick start guide and tell me how to fix this problem? These are co-pilot bolt-ons. That's the AI 1.0 transformation. We're here today, and we're here to provide that to you from our platform. But what we're focusing on development, and what Ron is going to be showcasing to you, is how we're even putting an eye out there for what's coming next, and that is the full stack reinvention. Is not just a co-pilot bolt-on, but completely rethinking about how AI can change how I manage systems. Maybe I don't even need to log into a platform, but everything is moved to my text messages to tell me automatically when things are wrong, and I can communicate to it to reboot devices natively. Maybe reports are simply sent to me on a weekly basis and I never need to log into a platform. These types of thought processes of how AI is changing the way that we do business, and in our context, monitor and manage AV equipment, is a big focus of Xyte. And the reason I bring this up here today is to ensure that all of you guys on the call are feeling secure about your investments in a platform like Xyte's, that we are innovating and developing towards this future while still providing you tools today to adopt and take action on with AI in your business and make it better. That is the key here. So that's a quick little understanding of where AI is today and going. And hopefully you'll see, of course, over the next couple slides, how Xyte is supporting you guys in that transformation when you partner with us. But let's bring this back to Xyte, and back to a very specific product, and that is Connect Plus, the core of everything that we do here, which is the single pane of glass for monitoring and management. Well, let's talk a little bit about how we deliver on this, because it's one thing to say single pane of glass of monitoring and management for all of your equipment, but let's talk a little bit about what makes us unique and different, and that's the how we accomplish this for you. And it's through four main ways, four puzzle pieces. And first way is this native integration with manufacturers. And this is absolutely the best way. We build an incredible partner ecosystem of manufacturers who have direct Xyte communication built into their devices. These partners, you get the most robust management and monitoring, all part of this Open AV Cloud standard in Connect Plus to see everything and do everything with that device. The second method is the cloud-to-cloud connections. We totally understand there's a lot of manufacturers out there that have their own cloud-based monitoring tool. So instead of having them reinvent the wheel, we simply do a cloud-to-cloud connection to their own siloed tool. And the third way is this Connect Plus Edge. And we're going to focus a lot on Edge today. It's going to be a big theme throughout the presentation. Is, well, what if I don't have a manufacturer that is connected directly to Xyte? And what if they don't have their own cloud? I still need to see what's going on. And that Connect Plus Edge is able to now live on your network through APIs, grab information bidirectionally, both monitor and manage all of those devices that have that open API architecture. And finally, the fourth way to truly complete the picture is heartbeat or online offline status for everything else. The four of these together complete the picture, the final puzzle of 100% visibility, whether it's base level online offline with my heartbeat monitoring, all the way up to those native manufacturer partners who give you complete control, management, monitoring, pushing of commands, reboots, reports, and everything in between. Xyte provides this to you in a single login. It's the only platform in the world that can do that today through these different methods to give you 100% visibility. Now, with that, we're actually going to launch a poll. So if Emma or Julie, if you guys can launch that poll quickly for the audience, perfect. We're going to leave this up here for a minute or so. What we want to understand is, out of these four methods, and choose multiple, by the way, which of the following do you believe that you would use to connect to devices? Because this is, now I'm going to talk through a little bit as you guys are answering. This is another unique feature about Connect Plus, is giving you guys the options of choice. And it's not just choice of connection methods to these devices. It really embodies the concept of choice. If I can choose any manufacturer, and I, the user or the integrator buyer, I don't need to worry how they communicate, because I know Xyte has all of these different methods, from heartbeat to native manufacturers and everything in between, to communicate to that device and get me data. So we want to hear from you. Which ones, maybe all, are you going to really focus on leveraging when using the Xyte Connect Plus ecosystem to connect to equipment and provide that single pane of glass? So we're going to leave this up here just for a couple more seconds, just around 10 more seconds. So get your final answers in, and then we'll move on. All righty, perfect. Thank you guys all for answering. So what these four puzzle pieces has gotten to in a result is this. And this is the beautiful part of the platform. I actually just wanted to add this on here quickly, and we're going to talk back about this in a second. But this is just a straight screenshot directly from Xyte's Connect Plus. None of this is, marketing graphics or anything. When you log into Connect Plus today, this is what you're going to be presented with to say, hey, Andrew, what do you want to connect? How do you want to connect it? Do you want to do a cloud to cloud to Biamp Workplace? Awesome, you got it. Let's bring in all those systems that you've already set up in Workplace. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Or hey, you want to connect over to your BenQ or to maybe your Blue Sound device. Maybe one of these can be through Edge and the other can be through a native integration. It doesn't matter, and that's key. It shouldn't matter. Because when you log in, after you connect your equipment, how you manage the devices should be the same from Biamp to BenQ to BrightSign to Blue Sound. It doesn't matter how they talk. You should have the same exact communication and management and monitoring capabilities in Connect Plus, and you do. And that's a huge benefit here. And what we're doing with Edge, which again is going to be the theme throughout this conversation, is that we are constantly expanding its functionality. This is just a smattering example of a couple of the Edge-enabled brands, not just models, but brands, because there's tons of models underneath those brands that we have launched since InfoComm. Every single week, we are coming out with more. Every time you log into the platform is getting better. I love talking about this because what better value can you bring to a customer than, hey, day one, when you log into Xyte Connect Plus, that's going to be the worst it'll ever be, because it'll only get more and more robust in the brands and the models and the functionalities that you're going to be able to bring to your managed service business down to your customer to service and support them better. So with that, what I want to do now is I want to get over to some of the recent product updates. Let's bring Ron Zaksh on stage. Ron, so if you want to unmute yourself and join us. Ron, again, is our VP of Product, heads all of our design and innovation. Let's talk a little bit about what is live today, the recent updates in the last quarter that our customers can take advantage of.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to take you through the recent product updates, and then we're going to talk a bit more about the future, the roadmap. I'm always happy to talk about future stuff, inspiring. So first, what we have today that you can already open a product and see. So the first thing is about analytics. So we've been asked a lot about analytics. So we launched in the past few weeks analytics for the MSPs and end customers, where you can unlock deeper insights with analytics on spaces, devices, and device models. The analytics dashboard also includes key performance metrics like mean time to resolution for incidents and the number of open incidents. So you have the numbers, you have the trends. In addition, it's easy to identify the distribution of device vendors and models that you have in your fleet, as well as identify problem areas, whether these problem areas are related to a specific space or to a specific device model. The analytics tab can also be filtered by customer, by vendor, by device model to narrow down your area of interest. We also plan to have a lot of additions to this feature. For example, more flexibility in filters, such as custom date ranges, widgets for room utilization. We'll talk more about it in a few slides. SLA adherence. If you commit to an SLA to your end customers, you may want to monitor that. And if you are the end customer, you want to monitor that for yourself. Downtime reduction, a lot of other operational KPIs that could be interesting for tracking. We also plan to add separately operational dashboards to manage your day-to-day and help teams proactively identify and resolve issues before they affect the end users. We also have a poll here, and we want to hear from you. What other insights would you like to see in analytics? As I said, this is the first step. It's going to develop over time.
So I think we just launched the poll. We're going to keep this up for a minute. Please do enter some of the information here. While you guys are thinking about this, let me add a little bit of context to you because, I get this question all the time, right? I speak to all of you, multiple times a day, and I love hearing your feedback about these dashboards and analytics and reports. It sounds to be one of the most important things that you're looking to deliver as a customer, as an integrator, even as a manufacturer. And where we're coming from is every individual, every organization is going to have a different priority of what is most important to them to report on. So our goal at Xyte is we want to give you, the majority use case report, right? Out of the box, click a button. This is what the majority of the industry is looking for that determines true success in AV and IT management. However, as you start to look deeper, this comes into flavors. One is you probably have feedback on what this out-of-box report is, which is what we're looking for here in this poll. But also, if you're a large enterprise, we actually have a tier as part of our platform on the enterprise tier that allows you to work with us to generate custom reports. So if you don't see anything here in the out-of-box report that maybe fits your needs or your executives that are looking for weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual reports on what's happening, we absolutely have a tier of product that allows you to connect with us directly, and we can build custom reports for you. All right, so I think we're going to leave this up for just a couple more seconds, get your last answers in there, and then we'll move on. But I got to say, Ron, this was probably the feature that we got the biggest feedback at InfoComm was, because it's such a great tool, right? We talk about bringing all these devices into one spot, but that's just step one of 100. That's just getting all the data there. Then what we do with the data thereafter is really the cool stuff. And this to me is one of the coolest things is combining manufacturers versus incidents and space by space usage and tell me what vendors I have the most deployed of. Really insightful things that just were impossible. A couple of years ago. It's awesome stuff.
All right. So as mentioned before, the vision of single pane of glass is everywhere. So on top of the technical ability to connect devices using various methods, we also worked on improving the UX for actually adding all these devices into Xyte. So we have a new claim flow, and there's one entry point where you can add devices in any way possible within Xyte. So you can search your preferred model or vendor in a search box, or you can browse for your vendor and model, whether that's edge or a natively connected device. You can select your cloud to cloud for your cloud of choice. And if you haven't found what you're looking for, you can always add an edge and connect a heartbeat device and ask us to support it later on in a fully blown device model.
Yeah. You know, Ron, when we updated this claim flow, it flicked on the switch, I think, for a lot of our customers and partners, because this here visually shows me the power of what a single login for all of my devices can bring me. And now I can just click, 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 and populate my entire management tool. And in a matter of minutes, both working with one of our customer success teams, you can have a fully fledged single pane of glass, regardless of manufacturer, really out of the box. It's remarkable.
Yes. Another thing that we included is a new widget, device status history. That's a widget that can be part of your device dashboard. So if you're a manufacturer, you can consider adding that to your devices. It doesn't require any specific telemetry. It's a status history widget. Every device has their own status. So every device has a status history. It's relevant for all. We're also going to add that into the edge devices that we're building. And this will basically help integrators and MSPs and in-house AV teams to gain actionable visibility into device performance over time. It helps you to improve diagnostics, support, and the uptime of the device. It should be included from the partner side. If you are developing your own device models, you have access to the partner side, include that in your dashboard. We, Xyte, will include that in the devices that we support through Edge.
So Ron, I just want to make sure I heard you right there, because for our manufacturers that are on the line, they're looking at this and thinking, awesome, right? Like I've developed to Xyte, my product's available in Connect Plus. Now I can give device history information of what the status was over the last hour or day or week, so I can see if it's performing right. But I think I heard you say even the devices from manufacturers who don't communicate natively, but we at Xyte built that edge connector to. So we actually wrote the driver, we launched it for our customer because they had manufacturer of projector XYZ. We can also include this in that view?
Yes. So this widget does not require any specific telemetry from the device. This basically tracks the online, offline, unavailable statuses. It only requires a ping, basically. So it can be added to any device. And then you can look at the history over time for the past hour, 6 hours, 7 days. If you're a manufacturer, you can also test the widget in your lab, test this widget in your lab before exposing it to everyone else. So yeah, it's a new standard of how we look at device monitoring in Xyte.
No, it's great. We're going to get a ton of requests that, about the reporting around this too, right? I can already see it happening. Hey, I want to report on over the last 7 days, all my devices. Tell me which have had the biggest problems or went offline when they shouldn't because a meeting was scheduled. That's going to be key to that. I love it.
Yes. Another thing that we added is improved UX for managing devices and assets. That's on the spaces view. So we got a lot of feedback about people having a lot of devices in a space. So we created a totally new devices tab that can allow you to view a lot of devices in a concentrated grid or list with all the most important data easily available and visible on these tiles. We also have filters, so you can look at devices which are only offline or only online or only problematic. And the same way we added a tab for your assets, where you have more or less the similar views. And this is only the beginning in our journey of adding new information and additional value into the spaces view. I'm going to talk about it a bit as part of the roadmap, part of the presentation. But go and have a look at these new tabs. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, because Ron, in talking with a bunch of our service provider partners, they were saying, even end users too, they were like, look, my room is made up of more than just connected devices. It's amazing that you're telling me that you can sit on my network or live in the cloud and connect to all my devices, but well, I need to know that there's a specific rack in that room, or I need to know that there's a USB BYOD device in that room. And by doing so, this now allows me to manage that asset directly without it having been connected. And that's really great, because now I do get, we talk about 100% visibility. This is part of that 100% visibility, is seeing things that even aren't on my network, full inventory and asset management, all part of that same single pane of glass. So
Yes.
love this feature. And with that, let's move on to what's coming soon. Because again, for our audience, this is all stuff that's live today. You log into our platform after this call, you're going to see all of those features immediately upon login. But I think a lot of people came here to also understand, what are we building towards? How are we addressing those trends that I talked about in the beginning? So Ron, let's talk a little bit about what's coming soon.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very excited about what's coming soon. So let's talk about rooms. So we all know that a room is not just a collection of random devices, but it's a functional entity that needs to bring value to its users. So each device in a room plays its part, and while some must work for the room to fill its purpose, like, I don't know, a display for a video room, others are nice to have, like the occupancy sensor, and their malfunction do not make the room unusable. So we plan to emphasize the room as an entity at Xyte in several locations across the product. First, we'll revamp the space dashboards to include occupancy data, for example. If you've been to Infocom, you've seen the occupancy sensor demo. So we're going to include occupancy data as part of the standard room representation. We'll also have statuses for room, like available, not available, have some warnings, statuses like that. And all that is based on the device type and role that it plays within the room. In addition, we're going to have an operational dashboard that shows you the status of all the rooms in your building, your floor, your customer, depending on context, so you know what's happening in your area of interest. Furthermore, the analytics section that we just talked about will also have room-level aggregate data over time, including insights regarding usage and occupancy of these rooms.
Ron, this has been, I think, the culmination of what we've been talking about. I was literally just on a call with a massive reseller who we were having this conversation around, look, it's not about devices, it's about rooms. The room is what I'm worried about. And the second we're able to gather that data from motion sensors, or I know a couple sound bars even have people counting built into them, pairing that with the status of the room, that level of utilization reporting, right? I know that's a key word for our audience, is room utilization. That starts to level up, especially if you're a system integrator, it levels up your conversation with your customer. Being able to provide room utilization reports, or secondly, as a user or an IT manager, to provide that to your CIO, this just opens up budget, it changes the conversation. It really just opens up a lot more to do with the equipment that you've been buying, and allows you to make better decisions. So I'm very excited about this feature. I think it's probably the #1 feature I'm looking forward to.
Yes. Yeah, skip. Okay, yeah. One of the key uses for device monitoring, obviously, is identifying issues before they are apparent and work proactively to resolve them. At Xyte, devices trigger an incident whenever something goes wrong, and this is defined per device model. However, we came to the understanding that in real life, sometimes the usage pattern of the specific device or the environment in which it operates changes the relevance of alerts. Treating all devices equally might create what we call alert noise, and therefore reduce the effectiveness of proactive device management. So we have a lot of data. We need to filter the data for what really matters. Therefore, we plan to take a few initiatives to help MSPs and end customers to reduce this alert noise. First, we're going to add really soon, we're going to add the option to turn off incident alerts from what we call noisy devices. For example, if you have a device that's not always connected and you connect it only when you want to use it, you don't really care about whether it's offline. So you want to turn that off. In addition, we saw that in many cases, some of the incidents are short-lived and get resolved by themselves. Maybe it's a borderline something, maybe it's a network error that gets resolved, any glitches that may happen. So you don't want to hear about it if it gets resolved by itself. So we plan to add an alert delay, which could be configurable by space, because each space has their own role, their own importance for you. so that only persistent incidents will really trigger an alert for you, and you can tweak and change that. Furthermore, sometimes alerts are not relevant outside of your working hours because you turn the electricity down, because you don't really want to fix what gets broken and repositioned, or you do some maintenance of hours. So by defining the working hours per space, we can delay non-critical incidents to the next business day if they persist. So we want to actually trigger a poll here as well. When improving incident alerts, what are the main issues that you think we should solve for?
All right, so we just launched the poll. Again, we'll take a minute here. Please do add some of your input here. Just to reiterate a little bit, we're talking about improving the communication, the alerting, the notification of these incidents. And so we want to make sure that we separate the true problems from the noise. And the noise can be things like I'm doing maintenance in the room. The noise can be, overnight I have a reboot cycle. And we don't want to ping your Slack a million times to say, hey, problem, 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 problem. So we want to hear from you guys, especially service providers. I would say this is a major, major one. In your managed service contracts and your managed service experience, how can we improve this alerting and notification of incidents to your business? So we're going to keep this up for a couple more seconds so you guys can add in your last little pieces of input. All right, another 30 seconds here to give you guys some time. All right, and I think we're just about done. Perfect.
All right. Another feature that we're going to add, mostly for enterprise end customers, is single sign-on. So enterprise customers prefer to manage their user directory with some SSO solutions, such as Azure Directory or Okta. And this simplifies the user access across platforms, improve the IT security and daily operations. So we will soon make this single sign-on option available to any customer of Connect Plus that chooses to enroll with that option.
Awesome. Yeah, we get a lot of requests from enterprises about this. So I know this is coming soon. It's going to be a nice release.
Yes. Another thing is, again, about adding devices to Xyte. So we know that you want to add hundreds and thousands of devices to your Xyte cloud, and you want this to be as smooth as possible. So cloud-to-cloud connectors already allow for bulk imports. Native connections are typically individual device claims. We have today an option to help you in bulk claiming devices, and we're going to build a better, more streamlined bulk add option for native and edge connected devices, so you can add more devices and under less time, and also create your spaces tree in a more streamlined way.
Yeah, I think it's key here, just to reiterate, is this is available today. We absolutely are able to bulk add. We just, you connect with your customer success manager and they're able to do it through the back office system that they have access to. Our goal is to bring this to the front office system for you as well. Just to give you guys more tools, more power. We want to do it quicker. But again, this is available today. We just want to make it easier for you to do it on the fly in the very near future.
We're also working to enhance our cloud-to-cloud connectors. So while the main effort now is on Edge, we have a nice offering for cloud-to-cloud, and we're adding more and more capabilities over there. So a new connector that's going to be launched soon is Logitech Sync, already in advanced stages. Another thing that we're going to add are direct deep links between devices in Xyte and the same device view in the origin cloud, like XIO, Domos, or Logi. This will help you when you troubleshoot a problem in a device. Not all the data comes through the cloud-to-cloud API. There are API limitations and so on. So you may want to go and see the original instance of that device in the cloud-to-cloud in case you need so. There will be deep links to that specific device in the other cloud. Another thing we're going to add at some point is command support starting from Zoom connected devices. So you're not going to
This is
monitor
so
only, but also control.
No, this is awesome, Ron. We were just on a call, I think it was last week. We were talking to a major Fortune 100 company. And, obviously, is the theme of Xyte Connect Plus, we give you guys choice in how you connect devices. Maybe you want to use Connect Plus Edge, which gives you this maximum flexibility of connecting pretty much any manufacturer you want. However, maybe you already have Neat Pulse set up and XIO set up and BSN set up, and you want just an easier way to just import those 3 clouds into 1 cloud, right? That's the value of choice of connection. And that's a key reason why we're continuing to launch these more cloud-to-cloud connectors like Logi Sync. So we're going to continue adding to this, continuing to give you more and better choice. And then lastly, what was also key about this is those cloud-to-cloud connections are amazing out of the box. But if I now had a way to be able to, in that single screen, dive all the way into that cloud management from Xyte and do exactly what I could have done if I previously logged in and found that device in manufacturer's cloud, that would be the cherry on top. And now we're going to be able to offer that to you is, yes, within Xyte, you do that cloud-to-cloud connection, and maybe you want to dive all the way in there and do what you could in XIO or in Domos or in Logi. You're going to have a deep embedded link that's going to bring you directly to that page natively. Love this new feature. It's going to just continue to add to the value of choice that we give our customers on how they're going to connect and build that single pane.
All right. So I was mentioning additional tabs in the space view earlier when we talked about devices and assets. So on top of managing devices and assets, you as MSPs, as AV teams, need to manage additional resources that are related directly to your spaces, to your rooms, to your devices, which are contracts and files. Contracts could be warranties, could be equipment replacement cycles, could be customer service contracts, and you will be able to attach them to the relevant entity, whether that's the individual device or the room, the space, the customer. Files could be your device manuals, could be wiring diagrams, could be technical documents. And you can also include them where they matter most in the context of the specific room that they're related to. So we're going to add these features into the product. We already have contracts, we already have files, but we're adding new ways of connecting them to more entities and an easier way to retrieve them and view them in the correct context where you need them most.
This just further builds that, I call it the AV CRM mentality, right? Is finally this one tool, not just for single pane monitoring and management of connected devices, but for managed service partners to have a managed service platform to log files and quick start guides and floor plans, but also manage their contracts and their warranties, these time constricted documents, and be notified about them. I think this is all great. Bringing that into one place is super valuable.
All right. Last but not least, so if you've seen our demo at Infocom, we showed an Xyte AI agent that's part of the product. So we're currently working on productizing this AI agent, which will basically be your Xyte teammate. It can identify your problem areas, whether that would be a space, a customer, a device, and suggest ways to resolve issues. It has access to your device data. It also has access to the manufacturer guides or any other files that you choose to upload. So it has the context, the specific context of your tenant and all the resources that are relevant to your device fleet. And by having such access, this AI agent essentially becomes your first line of support. Whether you're an end customer, an MSP, or an OEM, this will provide the initial support based on the relevant knowledge. And this is only an initial step in making Xyte an AI-driven device platform, like Andrew mentioned in the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah, we got amazing feedback at Infocom, and I think rightfully so, right? Because this is where AI is today, is these Copilot, GPT bolt-ons. And we're there, right? Like, this is our commitment to you guys, is that we're going to be giving you the tools, AI and beyond, to what is available now so that you can manage and create business better. But the key thing that always gets me all hyped up is that you guys are investing in a platform that's going to not just be there for you today, but something that is also going to be there for you tomorrow. And that's that AI 2.0 transformation that I was talking about. And even though we're not sharing a lot right now, as a lot of it is still under very confidential development, a lot more to come about this. But again, we just want you guys to feel really confident about Xyte Connect Plus being this one source of truth for data, adding value-added applications and tools on top of it, creating this AV CRM or managed service platform, but keeping an eye on the future for that AI 2.0 revolution, and Xyte will be there with you along the way. And that is the key point to take from this. So Ron, thank you so much for walking us through available features today and what's to come. Obviously, we will be there, and I think it's another quarter from now where we're going to be presenting, again, what new innovations we have come out with and what new innovations we are working on every single quarter to our customers. Before we close here, I just want to call out two very important things, and our marketing team will be adding this to the chat group. First things first is download our data report. It's this AV Cloud data report that we worked with a ton of different consultants and analysts from around the industry, our own polling and analysts internally at Xyte. And we spoke to you, the customers, right? The manufacturers, the partners and resellers and the end users to understand what is going on in the world of AV monitoring and management, understanding pain points and priorities and putting numbers to these things. We summarize it all in this fantastic data report. So if you ever need to use data behind requesting budget for a tool that's going to make your job better, easier, this is the data report to reference. So please download that. The link is in the chat. But also, if you guys want to find out more about everything we talked about today, you can head to our website, xyte.io. On the bottom right, you'll see a way to schedule a demo or schedule a meeting with myself or my team here. But also in the chat, our marketing team has added a link directly to our scheduler where you'll be able to connect with Joe, and he'll be able to connect you with one of our experts here on the team to show you more about Xyte and Connect Plus. So with that, again, thank you, Ron, for walking us through everything. And if you guys wanted to reach out to Ron directly about product, his email is right here. My email as well is andrew@xyte.io. You guys can reach me anytime you want if you have any questions. But most of all, thank all of you for joining us today. I really do appreciate it. I know we had a couple questions in the box. We asked for your contacts. We're going to reach out to you directly since we are a little bit over time. And again, this recording will be sent out to all of you. So if you want to rewatch, I recommend on 2x speed. You'll be able to remind yourselves everything that's going on at Xyte. So with that, thank you so much for joining this webinar. And we really do look forward to working with all of you, manufacturers, channel partners, and end customers in the future very soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.